should have got a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but you can quad box and Xbox, so when you're watching sports, so.
Justin, you don't have any of them, so you can shut the fuck up.
Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller. Joining me today is Chad Bunt.
That's me.
And Justin McGovern.
What is up, everyone?
And today we are going over our favorite.
Justin, you put your hair in a ponytail?
Nope.
AFC North.
The AFC North, the hatingest division in the NFL.
Hatingest?
It's not
Yeah,
even
the
a word.
hatingest. There's no division that is set up to hate each other more than the AFC North. Because everyone hates the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Baltimore Ravens were created because their owner just up and decided to take the Cleveland Browns and move them there. The original Cleveland Browns were created. What is it? Paul Brown got ousted from the Browns and then started the Bengals as a spite team.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, I mean, that whole setup pretty much sets up everyone.
In Pittsburgh, just as Pittsburgh.
So this division is just always so perfectly set up to just hate each other's guts. There is no deeper history of hate in any division in the NFL than this division. And right now, every single team is loaded. So this is going to be a fun one to dive into.
Yeah.
As a reminder, we're going in reverse order where they finished last year. So we are going to be kicking this off with the Cincinnati Bengals, then looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, then the Cleveland Browns, and wrapping up with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, shut up, Justin.
Shut up, Justin.
All right, let's shut up and get started.
Well, Slim Shiesty. So I'm not gonna lie. Obviously we're all pretty big Bengals fans except for Justin because he's a loser.
That would just make two of us, Chad.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, no, it's only two of the three of us.
That's all that matters. I was really confused at the beginning of the offseason with losing like Joe Mixon and the whole T. Higgins situation. Still a little concerned about the T. Higgins situation. I would love to see him stay, but I don't think it's very realistic at this point. And I think they should focus on either signing him or moving on to giving Jamar Chase his contract, because one of them has to stay. I think Jamar Chase has to stay. So another question mark I had with this team was how to replace Joe Mixon. And they went out and got Zach Moss. And I get what everyone's saying, that it's going to be a pass first offense, relying on Joe Burrow and stuff. But I'm not sold on Zach Moss being the man to take over for where Joe Mixon left off, and I sure don't think what's his name, Chase Brown. I don't think Chase Brown's going to do it either. I think they will be throwing a lot, but they're going to be throwing it downfield more times than not. May have to go after a free agent running back who can create something. Because the two of them, I don't know how you guys see it. I don't see Zach Moss being a guy that can go down the middle. I don't see Chase Brown being that guy. I think they're running sweeps and screens and little bubbles, I like Trent Brown. Was confused about Amarius Mims when they drafted him.
Yeah. Go back and look at our draft spectacular here.
I stand by it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me why you go out and sign. I mean, you can't keep Trent Brown forever. I get that, but why even bring him in at this point? Because Amarius Mims looks like he's ready to play. Yeah. I like Mike Gesicki. Was really hoping that Brock Bowers could have fallen to them. That's who I would have loved to see. But Eric Hall is a great addition to the team. I really like McKinley Jackson. I was really surprised. That was the guy that I had watched all offseason, and I thought he'd look good in stripes. I think he'll be great. Chris Jenkins looks good. I'm not mad about losing Jonah Williams. He can go. I was sad about DJ Reader. Tyler Boyd going to Tennessee, good for him. He deserves an opportunity to be the man somewhere. And then it was like the last question about the Bengals that just doesn't make any sense to me is why bring in 2 more safeties on top of you already had 4 that you're keeping? I guess you moved Dax Hill, but what are you going to do with Jordan Battle now?
So
And
I think I can take that over from there. I think it's going to be a rotation heavy secondary.
you're doing
And
too much.
I do think they're doing too much. I don't think Tyson Anderson's going to make the roster. And I think it's going to be,
I think that's dumb.
yeah,
He's a decent contributor, especially on special teams.
I know. I really like Tyson Anderson.
Let him
Geno
just
Stone is better in coverage. So maybe like maybe they don't have complete faith in Dax Hill. But he did do when what's his name? That really tall corner that left to go to Atlanta with Jesse Bates. I can't think of his name. He covered all the tight ends. Flowers. When Flowers left, Dax Hill was the guy that started covering all the tight ends in man coverage, and he did a really good job.
He's moved the corners since that.
I know, but they can move him around, and then because they got DJ Ivy, who's going to be a stud, DJ Turner, who's going to be a stud, Mike Hilton, who's pretty much got the nickel covered.
I think he's on his way out, though.
I think so too. I think they're trying. I think part of the reason why they're bringing in another safety is to try to move Dax Hill around a little bit. But I love Josh Newton. He's got great footwork and was a steal in the 5th round. And then Cam Taylor-Britt, he's their clear-cut corner 1. Defense, maybe not as deep as it was a few years ago, but I think they have a lot of positive vibes going. Like DJ Reader leaving hurt a lot, but now you get to save a little bit of money when you drafted Chris Jenkins Jr. and signed Sheldon Rankins. So yeah, you do have an extra guy on the roster, but
and
McKinley Jackson too.
Yeah.
So you have a bunch of guys.
And you still got Zach Carter, right?
Yeah. But offensively, this is the last hurrah for their big unit, having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase as weapons. But Jermaine Burton, Andre Yosevas, Trent Irwin, Charlie Jones, that's not a bad company to come up there with him. My question mark is really Cordell Volson. Like, can he be what we thought he was going to be after his rookie year? The rest of the offensive line, everyone mocks it. Everyone makes fun of it.
Second half of the season.
Yeah, they played really well last year, and everyone still thinks that they need 5 new offensive linemen. When Ted Karras is one of the best centers in football, Alex Kappa is one of the best guards in football. Trent Brown was a pillar of that offensive line in New England. And Orlando Brown, say what you want about him in Baltimore and KC, but he was a really good offensive lineman. So, like, to me, it's Cordell Volson, and what Zach Moss did when Jonathan Taylor was sitting out shows me that Zach Moss has something there that the Bengals saw that they can work with. He had, 2 or 3 really good games?
Yeah, and I think he specializes as a pass catcher, which, again, leans into that pass-heavy style that you...
Yeah. And Travion Williams is a good bowling ball, the professor. They can have him be, like, the big man up the middle. And I did not realize this, but they have Rocky Lombardi, Justin.
Oh yeah, Rocky Lombardi.
unless he signs with this like a UFL team or something like that. Just trying to sign him.
I don't know. He's on the roster right now.
Yeah,
but,
I heard it on the radio one morning.
Eric All coming back from injury, being cleared. That's going to be huge because now you can start like using Sample as a blocker instead of relying on him to catch passes.
Which he looks better at now.
He is better. He is getting better. But then, like, now you have tight end depth, which you didn't have before. Gesicki was really good a few years ago in Miami, and in New England, he kind of fell off. But
He
there's a
can't
lot
be
of
backup.
yeah. And then now being the main guy again, I think they can do something here. And if Joe Burrow comes back, how they say he's going to come back with a vengeance. Plus, if you look at the Bengals schedule, this is a big plus for them. Patriots week 1, Chiefs week 2. So, yeah. But Commanders, Panthers, Ravens, Giants, then Browns, Eagles, Raiders, then back into division games. But they have the Broncos near the end of the year.
I don't really want to see Joe Burrow really overworking himself this year.
Me neither. But they're going to be a super pass heavy offense. So
yeah, but I don't think you have to go deep. Like you said, we can work crossing routes and slants and outs and work it inside until something opens up and you can dump it down there. But don't strain yourself, man, unless you have to.
Yeah, I really think that this team, if Burrow can stay healthy and the offensive line can stay healthy,
that's it.
That's all you need.
And their defense is solid enough. I mean, they're not the best defense, but
no. But Lou Anarumo has a great mind, so Brian Flores is his way through the season. So it comes down to scheme. And when we looked at last year's defense, it was a bunch of young guys that he was trying to
get ready.
Yeah, and it doesn't work out the same way. It takes a couple years for it to work the way you want it to, and I think it's going to work this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty hopeful, but I feel a little biased.
Yeah,
I mean, but they've proven the whole world wrong before. Why can't they do it again?
Yeah, they have depth everywhere now.
Yeah,
that's my point. And
it's kind of like you have to go for it. It's that sense of like time's running out.
Yeah, and they were 9-8 last year with Burrow missing half the season. If Burrow doesn't miss half the season,
they lost 4 games, right?
Yeah, I mean, remember, like before Burrow got hurt, like they were just rounding into form. I mean, they smacked the San Francisco 49ers around. Like they were just getting into like where they were primed to contend for the Super Bowl, and then he gets hurt in Baltimore, and that was it.
Yeah, and that could, well, we're not at them yet, but that Baltimore team was the same situation last year where they had to win it, and they did. So
yeah, obviously there's not a whole lot of to add. You guys went very in depth, covered it super well, but yeah, I've titled this year kind of like the last ride because there's a lot of key pillar guys who are looking to get paid, and with Jamar Chase, he's going to definitely command Justin Jefferson money, and he's going to have to get that. They're going to have to give him that money because I mean, there's no way you can't not keep Jamar Chase around. Like him and Burrow are your two guys that you have to keep no matter what. So T. Higgins, potentially like Henderson on the defensive line. You guys already mentioned Hilton. Those are going to be some of the guys. Hendrickson, sorry. Those are going to be the guys, that are key pillars right now that probably won't be there next year. So, I mean, obviously you're looking at a little bit of reset. So this is the year, like you mentioned, the Bengals got an easy schedule because, Burrow getting hurt, they finished last in this competitive division. So they get the whole last place schedule, which is so favorable. Like if they can avoid the slow starts, which they should with the Patriots, Panthers, among the teams they play in the first 4 games, if they can avoid the slow start
and Commanders.
If they beat the Chiefs, though, look the fuck out.
I mean, yeah, if they start out 4-0, then I mean, you're looking at the Bengals potentially threatening for the 1 seed, and that's gonna be critical to make sure that when you get down to the playoffs, then Mahomes has to come here to Cincinnati and not the other way around.
Yeah.
But it's
gonna be tough. Money and try and go. I'm just kidding.
Because even though the schedule outside the division is easy, there still are 6 games, as we're about to cover here, that are going to be really, really tough. And by the nodding of heads, I think it's time to transition.
Come on, Justin.
To the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Come on, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so I feel like they got away with a couple of things. The whole Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson thing. I think they originally got Russell Wilson to help teach Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett felt threatened, and that's why he asked for a trade and got traded to Philly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I love that they got Justin Fields for nothing, and now they got their probably starting quarterback because Russell Wilson has looked like hot garbage. Cordell Patterson's the nice ad. Roman Wilson, I like that one a lot for them. Van Jefferson is mid. Love Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, and Dante Jackson. Those are great additions right there. I mean, it hurts losing Deontay Johnson and Quan Alexander, and I mean some key parts of their defense. But I mean, personally, I don't think they're going to be the team to do it this year. I do think they probably have found one of their quarterbacks for the future for right now.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah, I think they have to just rebuild for a little bit, maybe a couple of years, and then they can be competitors again.
Yeah, I don't see, like, outside of Pickens, I mean Roman Wilson is good, but like he was in a play action offense. So like I know they're
one
gonna
thing I will note
Justin
here,
Fields.
we don't know for sure yet, but there was a report out of practice. I believe it was today that Roman Wilson was carted away. And they said it did sound serious. So we do not know he's going to
tell us this shit.
I think Matt's doing research. Oh no,
man! Everything's in there, man.
I don't know what this router's doing.
Hey, Marv.
What was the report, Justin?
Roman
Wilson was carted off from practice.
Oh man, that stinks. So I guess no Roman Wilson, but I mean, it doesn't matter because Russell Wilson and Justin Fields weren't going to get him the ball anyway. They're both Russell Wilson's way past his prime, and he and Justin Fields like wasn't really given a chance. But then when you see some of his throws, it's just terrible.
I think because that's what happens when you take the confidence away from a young quarterback.
Yeah.
They lose that touch.
To address the offensive line, and then getting Artie Smith as their offensive coordinator, they're going to be a run-heavy team, so they're going to rely on the play action. And
they still have Najee Smith, right?
Yeah, Najee Harris,
Smith.
Jalen Warren, and Cordero Patterson.
I thought Jalen Warren went somewhere.
No, he's still there.
No.
But it's going to come down to their defense. This defense is built to beat the Bengals, beat the Browns, and beat the Steelers. Or beat the Ravens, I mean. It'll come down to, can their offense move the ball? And honestly, I don't think so.
I think a big thing is, what Mike Tomlin does is just ridiculous every year. Like, how has he not had a losing record ever? Especially with the rosters they've been churning out the last few years.
It's like you just want them to have a losing record every season. You're like, if this guy would effing lose, you know.
And it's said more often than not, they managed to find a way. They managed to slip their way into the playoffs somehow. And that's with no running game because the offensive line was terrible. The defense was not a typical Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and I think that fact is what makes the Steelers scary for this year, is because they have made moves here to go back to the Pittsburgh Steelers that are, when they're good, this is what you know they have. Like, they have a strong running game. They have the backs already. They finally added offensive linemen all over the board here. I mean, they loaded up on the offensive line in this draft. I love the moves they made there. And then, a stronger defense, adding Patrick Queen there was a huge move. Peyton Wilson was a steal.
I like Wilson a lot.
Those moves were absolutely huge, and I think we're going to see a lot of ground and pound with the Steelers, and tough defense. And basically, that's what they're going to live on, and they've managed to scrape their ways in the playoffs by doing that terribly. Now they're going to do those things well. At a minimum, I see the Steelers making the playoffs again.
I just like their secondary, other than Minkah Fitzpatrick, doesn't impress me. Joey Porter, he's gonna be good. He's gonna have but like Steelers fans are treating him like he's Darrelle Revis, and he's not. And then Dante Jackson, he's had a few good practices. And yes, they may have won that trade, or I don't know if it was a trade, but
it was a
with
trade.
Carolina. It was a trade. So Dante Jackson, like they may have won that trade with him, but I still don't think he's that great. And then Grayland Arnold and Beanie Bishop are listed as their nickel. Like who are they?
Fuck around and find
out.
But like the rest of Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, like they got some dogs on this defense, and those dogs are going to eat.
Woof. Woof. I still don't think. I think if you look at this division, I think out of the four, they're probably the weakest. If everyone's healthy, they're the weakest on paper.
I would agree.
Next, I'm gonna have to get you to prompt you to do this all night, Justin.
Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. So they crashed the playoffs last year, guys. Now, what are they going to do for an encore? By the way, they crashed the playoffs without being healthy. Like, they had injuries all over the place last year.
They still did it.
They still did it. So, they went through quarterbacks galore. So they decided, okay, we're going to add a bunch of quarterbacks. They got crab legs in here, Tyler Huntley.
DTR.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Oh, yeah, DTR too.
I like the Browns roster. I just don't have faith in any of those quarterbacks to lead the team.
It's hard to trust.
Yeah, like I don't trust. Like Deshaun Watson has a lot of talent, and if he plays like he did in 2019, 2020, this team could go pretty deep in the playoffs. But I don't trust him to do that at all. Jameis Winston, really good backup.
Probably.
DTR, good future quarterback. Tyler Huntley, probably going to get cut just because there's no more space. But they're good at running back. Nick Chubb, we'll see how he bounces back with his ACL. Jerry
was
Jeudy,
squatting like 800 pounds the other day, man.
I know. I saw that.
We have to see what he's coming back from. See what he's come back from.
But squatting and juking are two different things.
So 800 pounds is 800 pounds, my brother.
Yeah, but like yeah. But I mean, like, is he going to be able to like play the whole year? Because Jerome Ford isn't going to be the answer. He's a good rotation back, but he's not the answer. Amari Cooper isn't what he used to be. I don't really consider him a top receiver anymore. Elijah Moore, what?
Didn't he do well last year?
He did pretty well last year, but
yeah.
And I love the addition of Jerry Jeudy, the complimentary piece there.
I do too, but like he didn't show anything in Denver. He was hurt a lot.
What do we make of him?
He started off strong. He started off pretty strong when he got there, and he kind of fell off because of injuries and stuff. I think Jerry Jeudy still has it in him.
I think, like the Steelers, I think they're Steelers, but with a better offense, really, because they got a good defense.
A couple great, rookie additions, Zach Zinter and Michael Hall Jr. I think on either side of the line, those are great additions. And they probably got them at a steal, right?
Yeah, middle
third
rounds. I
round
mean, that's all they had for picks.
I'm gonna miss Kareem Hunt. That's it.
Yeah.
I think
that was a good one too.
I think I speak for all of us that we would love to see the Browns be very successful.
In certain environments, I don't want to see them be more successful than the Bengals, but
yeah.
I think it's about time that they have a level of consistency near the top that they've never had before, or at least not since the 80s. But they have a really good secondary. Myles Garrett is 1B defensive ends, maybe 1C defensive ends in the NFL. Like Dalvin Thompson plugs up the middle. Zadarius Smith, maybe not as great as he was, but if you're double teaming Myles Garrett, he's sure going to get in there.
Yeah.
Michael Hall going to plug up the middle a little bit. I like that pick. They got a good.
I'm really hoping he goes to Cincinnati. I really was.
Yeah, but usually the players you want to come to Cincinnati the most, Steelers, Ravens, or
Browns,
and sometimes Chiefs.
Lions.
I'm okay with the Lions though.
Yeah,
as long as it's not AFC.
I'm not mad. He's gonna have a great role on the Browns, so that's
Yeah,
we'll be hearing about him.
Yeah. I think it just I think you guys touched on it good. It's going to come down to quarterback play. Is this the year that Deshaun Watson's going to finally step up? And then, I mean, it's also like Jerry Jeudy was a big move. I don't think they paid a whole lot for him, but it's about time he lives up to his first round billing. He's going to have to, because they're they're kind of deep at receiver, but they really just lacked a top tier guy outside of Amari Cooper. So I
really think it depends on Deshaun Watson staying healthy for the whole season too. The same as any team, but since he's come back from his scandal, he's not played a full season, right?
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, last year was the first time he was able to play a whole season, because the year before it was when he was suspended. So last year was the first chance he had at that, and then obviously got hurt. So,
but he didn't look like the old Deshaun Watson. You know what I mean?
No, I mean the season before, when he came back after the suspension, he looked freaking terrible. And then last year he was still bad, but not as bad.
And Joe Flacco looked really good.
Yeah, yeah. Joe Flacco ate last year. That was a wild run. But yeah, I mean, this is still a loaded roster, but we're going to be saying that about a lot of teams in this division.
Yeah.
Next,
the Baltimore Ravens. They got the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, and then obviously a disappointing finish because they just completely collapsed in the playoff game.
Yeah. So here's my thing with them. They have lost some because they were in deficit, right?
Yeah.
Just like they had to unload so much, so they lost all of their defense basically, and lost their defensive coordinator and their offensive coordinator. They lost a bunch of receivers. They lost their running backs, but they went out and spent way too much money on an aging Derrick Henry who isn't the same. And I'll have another point on that. And you went out and basically, I mean, didn't really add anybody, in my opinion. Nate Wiggins, but the problem with Derrick Henry is, he's Derrick Henry. He's one of the better running backs in NFL history, but you are putting him in a system where Lamar Jackson gets the offense runs 70% running plays, something like that, and 90% of that goes through Lamar Jackson. So what was the point of bringing in a $16 million running back when Lamar Jackson is going to be the one running?
My
So-
thought would be to get the pressure off of Lamar Jackson from running it. I mean, you don't want him to keep taking those carries and taking those hits.
You tell him not to, but that's his game.
But to be fair though, Justin, they did have a really good 1-2 punch with Gus the Bus and J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins couldn't stay healthy, obviously, but like if J.K. Dobbins was healthy, and I think they actually could have made a little bit more noise. But
I hope he does well in San Diego or LA.
yeah.
San Diego.
But like for me, the glaring hole isn't their run game. The glaring hole has always been their pass game. And like Zay Flowers is really good.
Is he going to be able to play? Did he get in trouble?
I don't think enough for people to care about on the field.
Look it up, Justin.
Yeah, Justin's looking it up. But Rashad Bateman really hasn't shown a whole lot. Tez Walker, he didn't really even get to play a whole lot last year. And then he's already mouthing off at in-division rivals. And he hasn't even stepped foot on the field yet. So, like, who else do you have? Who the hell is Tylan Wallace? Sean Ryan? I guess they have Malik Cunningham, if you want to call him a receiver.
Yeah.
Where did Odell sign? Miami?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so their starting three is Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar.
Ugh.
Oh my.
Mark Andrews and
I can't
Isaiah
believe
Likely.
Nelson Aguilar is still around.
He's job stability somehow. I don't know.
They're not throwing it very often, so it doesn't matter.
Well, remember when
By the way,
Lamar
Zay
Jackson said that he
Flowers-
was going to throw? What, Justin?
Zay Flowers apparently they announced he was not going to be charged back in February.
No.
So
Yeah.
there's that.
So remember when Lamar Jackson said that he was going to throw for 6,000 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
I'm gonna go for 6,000 yards.
He didn't even get above 3,500 last year.
Yeah. What do you think about him winning MVP last year?
I mean, he did a lot with his legs. He had a lot of touchdowns. I say that that's okay, but like nobody else had that great of a season. Like I think last year was one of those years. Like, would you have given it to TJ Watt?
I think it was necessary for them to win last year, and the fact that they didn't, it's kind of like, all right, so I don't see it getting any better. They're playing bargain discount Ravens right now.
Last year really was the year they had to make it happen because I mean,
It's-
not only did they have like a loaded roster, but
Bengals
also like it was one of the few. It was a rare year recently where most of their core outside of J.K. Dobbins like actually stayed healthy most of the year. That has been a huge problem for them lately.
Well, they did get Eddie Jackson, but like Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, those are the only real guys that you have in the secondary. Like, you don't have much to talk about anymore back there. And that's that's like the strength of most teams that you play. And when you talk about the top of the AFC, what do? They pass. Like,
play dirty defense.
I guess they're gonna, that too.
Yeah, this isn't going to be
Like, look at the
usual
list.
Ravens.
They got a good defensive line, and Roquan
list
Smith
of
is the
people
best
they
linebacker
lost.
in football. But
Just look at this list of the people they lost you. Just the depth of it. And that's just a fraction of the amount of people they lost.
that's only what Justin decided to put on you.
There's
There's
so
more
much
to
more
it.
than that. Yeah.
You know, another question mark that we need to talk about here, because, you know, obviously you already talked about Derrick Henry. This year's gonna be a proving point to see if Derrick Henry can ever get back to a high level again. But also, look how many offensive linemen they lost.
Yeah.
Are they even gonna have the run blocking they had before?
Mhm.
I mean, on the offensive line right now, they have Ronnie Stanley, who's hurt half the time. Andrew Voorhees, who kind of came into his own. He's pretty good.
Linderbaum.
Linderbaum, they drafted.
Yeah, he's a big one.
And then they have Daniel Fale and Ben
Oh, that
Cleveland.
dude's like 7 foot tall. He's a monster. They've been waiting to put him in there.
Roger Rosegarden.
That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be for a moment.
I think they're going to have some problems at guard.
Rosengarten might be the big concern point, but that other guy, huge freaking freight train of a human
He's
being.
a monster.
All right. If I don't think we're going to get prime Derrick Henry again, but can you imagine if prime Derrick Henry did show up one more time behind that mound of a man?
But like I said, like Lamar's game is to run it. You're not going to change his game because, I mean, yeah, he can throw it, but he's not that great. Look at in the past.
Look at all the receivers they've gone through over the past however many years.
They've tried to address receivers so many times, and in this offseason, they just gave up on trying it other than getting
stop wasting your money on receiver. It doesn't matter who we have.
I think what they're going to do, their defense is good enough to bend, not break in a lot of situations.
I mean, they lost a lot of people, man.
Yeah, they lost a lot of people, but they're going to probably rely on clock management and bend, not break defense.
Yeah. And
they're going to rely on the other team wasting clock, and then they're going to waste clock. And that's how they're going to get wins this season.
And I mean, they're going to be able to do that pretty well. Like their safety duo, Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams back there, is probably one of the better safety duos. So even though corners like really questionable, that duo in the back, they're going to be able to clean up any messes that do happen back there. So they're not going to give up big plays. They're going to force you to earn touchdowns.
They lost a lot of sack ability also.
Sackability. That's a new metric we need to make.
Quote it. Trademark it. Sackability.
Like they got Michael Pierce. I always butcher his name. Justin Matabuki.
I'll trust it.
I'm gonna go with it. I'm no better.
Odafe Owe, like David Ajobu, like they got some guys to get to the quarterback, but it's not that deep. Like you were relying on Jadeveon Clowney last year to get to the quarterback, and you didn't really address it. So,
and you lost Patrick Queen. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, you still Roquan Smith, I guess, but that defense is turning into the Bears defense once they started losing.
Well, it's like
those guys.
Yeah,
Roquan Smith wanted out.
His contract's killing them. So, like, how long are they going to have Roquan Smith? And like, at what point do you stop investing in that? Invest in Roquan Smith until your whole team falls apart. You know what I mean?
Until you become the Bears, like I guess.
It was very weird too because typically.
Shut up, Justin.
Typically the Ravens aren't a team that invests heavily in linebackers either. Like they usually draft guys, and then when it comes time for their contract, they usually just let them hit free agency or trade them away. This is like the first time the Ravens invested heavily in a linebacker, and it has not worked out. I mean, probably the first time since like Ray Lewis.
Roquan's good. He's great.
He's really good. Yeah.
But like
he's worth every penny. It's just a challenge of what's around him.
I would put Roquan Smith up there with Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a top tier linebacker.
It's like the conversation of Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher. It was always those two. So now I would put Roquan Smith near the top, but like you said, his contract's killing their defense. Just like Lamar Jackson's contract is going to start hurting the offense even more.
And it's like you guys got to like either restructure or this is what you got to expect. You're going to be falling short because you don't have enough depth.
And like
The team's
They're
like
hurting their
maybe I'm
trackability.
missing something. Maybe I'm missing something on the talent that they drafted, but like I feel like this year was a huge swing and miss for their scouting department.
Yeah.
They addressed areas of need with corner, but I still think it was a huge swing and miss.
I'm a bit of a fan of TJ Tampa. I thought he was a little underrated, so that might be a steal. But like Nate Wiggins was, he's a high upside athlete, but he was a risky pick. I don't know if he's gonna be ready to step right in.
why not take a wide receiver?
They took Tez.
Because they have been taking receivers in
enough?
the past, and they end up with Rashad Bateman.
Oh, they got Did they get Marquise? No. Did they get Marquise Brown?
No, Hollywood
No,
left
that's
to go to
Chiefs.
the Cardinals and then left again to go to KC. So if I'm putting teams near the top of the AFC, I'm not putting the Ravens near the top of the AFC. I honestly think,
Wild card.
yeah, I think they're good enough to get wild card based on their stars.
Well, mentioning standings, let's put it all on the table.
Ooh, I did it. I couldn't remember if I did it or not, guys, but I did.
It's
like I said,
not a bad pick. I'll be honest with you.
I did. Obviously, I'm a Bengals fan, but I think as long as they stay healthy, I think it's their division to win this year. I think Joe Burrow should come back strong. Maybe you could talk about comeback player of the year. I think there will be somebody else in this division that wins that, though. I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgin have something to prove this year, and I think that defense is starting to look really, well adjusted. Let's put it that way. I think the defensive backs they've drafted and brought in have really developed and are going to be playing. I think that's going to be the best part of their defense this year is their defensive backs. I think it's going to create a lot of coverage sacks. The Browns. So this is where I thought it was funny. I put the Browns second because the Ravens lost so much, and I think they're focusing they're putting Band-Aids on a sinking ship. But the Browns, I think Nick Chubb coming back, he's going to be the one getting comeback player of the year. I think he's going to have a great season. He's going to carry that team. They're going to be neck and neck with the Bengals, and it's going to be like, bizarre world. Everything got flipped upside down. Bengals, Browns, top two, Ravens, 3 because they lost all that, and then the Steelers, they have some adjusting to do. So
I was close to doing the same thing, but for me, it comes down to quarterback play, and I'm taking Lamar Jackson 10 times out of 10 over Deshaun Watson.
I think Nick Chubb's going to take that decision out of Deshaun Watson's hands. I think Nick Chubb.
But then you also have Derrick Henry to answer, and having Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry running the football and not really passing a whole lot.
The Browns defense.
Well, yeah, I know, but like I said though, I think the Ravens offense is going to be built to take time, just like the Steelers. I think the Ravens and the Steelers are built to take time off the clock offensively, and the Steelers have a much better defense, so I think they're going to stop a lot of people. But I think that the Ravens are a bend not break defense, and they'll give up yardage, but they'll have to settle for field goals and stuff. So I think that's going to be the difference between the Ravens and the Browns. I think those 3 will make the playoffs. I think Bengals, Ravens, and Browns make the playoffs.
Yeah, I see most likely 3 teams from this division making the playoffs pretty much. It's just so loaded. I got the Bengals winning it too. Just, the easiest schedule in the division thanks to finishing last. Obviously the best quarterback in the division than Joe Burrow. This is the year they got to make it happen. So I think they got the right people to go and make it happen. Got the Pittsburgh Steelers next. They're going to make the playoffs. They're built more into their identity now more than they have been the last several years. and so they're going to be ready to go. Ravens, again, concerned about some of their losses. I don't think they're going to fall completely, but, they're just not as good as they were last year. And then finally, with the Browns, it was really hard to put anyone in last in this division. So I kind of just thought, okay, which team is going to be the least lucky? That's typically the Browns. So that's where they ended
Well,
up.
this is the toughest division for a reason because you have two really good defenses and then two defenses that, I mean, the Ravens are a sinking ship defensively, but the Bengals have a young defense that you don't really know their identity. So, but offensively, you have Burrow, Lamar Jackson. You got a lot of stars in this division. All outdoor stadiums. 3 of them are in the snow in the winter. It's going to be exciting.
It would be so wrong if any of these teams ever got a dome.
I would agree. I would
think
love
we
the
should
Bengals
do
to get a dome, but at the same time, it's like the style of football just goes away at that point.
I think retractable roofs are there for a reason.
Yeah.
I think that would be the route. Because then you could still have Miami come up in December and have the roof open.
Yeah, you could do that. But if you're going to have the roof, you want your fans to be comfortable, and then you would just close it and
Heated
inclement
seats,
weather.
baby. Take our tax dollars and give us heated seats and a retractable roof. I don't want to see any more locker rooms.
Do you think it should be like the Tesla trunk for the Cybertruck, where it just kind of like rolls out and rolls in?
But the field itself?
No, like the roof. It just kind of like rolls up over stadium and then unrolls.
I think we should, as pure Cincinnati tradition, I think it should have to be like a grounds crew that goes up onto the roof and has to roll it up like they do on the baseball field, but it's on a slope. So it's really hard. So we get the entertainment value.
Yeah, but then like the liability factor, you'd have to get higher insurance rates.
Yeah, it'd be worth it. I'd go to the game just to watch them fall. Whoa! It's starting to rain. They have to roll it out.
So Chad's a little bit morbid, and I think that's how we end our previews, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. This is the end of our NFL previews.
It's been a hectic 4 weeks of doing this.
Yep. But hey, we got there. All 32 teams.
Not all of us, but I came for some of them. My lungs and my chest and my throat and my ears are all better now.
Hey, you made it for 3 out of 4 days of recording.
I did it.
Not bad attendance by Chad. That's better than usual.
What?
Oh, shots fired.
This shit.
I'm just kidding. So now that we're wrapped up, do we have like any food that we want to like rank?
So there's a Wingstop commercial, but we already did wings.
I was thinking maybe like Sub Shop, but I feel like that's kind of boring.
I could throw down.
I already know yours. You like Izzy's.
Well, I wasn't gonna say Izzy's. I got a whole mess of them. But if you're gonna have me say Izzy's, I'll say Izzy's first. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you like their Reuben with those big pickles.
Yeah, their pickles are so good. You're right.
Big pickles.
I want the whole world to know that Matt's nickname in my family is Pickleman.
I almost wore the shirt. I wore the shirt to bed last night. I almost wore the shirt today.
All right, so I said Izzy's. What are you guys saying?
I don't think Jimmy John's is that great, but I think the combination of oil and vinegar with the peppers is up there.
I'm going to go Penn Station on this one.
Penn Station is freaking awesome.
It's so
So like we were talking about Skyline, how I've been boycotted. That's where I've been going is Penn Station. I prefer. I'm gonna say this. I think Jimmy John's is for college kids, and adults eat Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Seen that.
And
But
when
like you actually can get a hot sub at Jersey Mike's, whereas at Jimmy John's it's still cold.
Yeah, you're only getting cold cuts.
Yeah.
When I was,
All right, let's talk about how bad Subway is.
yeah, Subway's terrible.
Yeah. There's one right next to my work, and I went in and because I forgot my lunch one day, and
Did you turn around and go right out?
No, it was just like the most convenient option for me because I needed something real quick. And I went in, they got rid of their buffalo sauce. Like, who gets rid of buffalo sauce? You could do so many things with that.
Why do you eat so much hot sauce, dude?
I guess I'm going for gout, I guess.
Yeah, you are.
Buffalo sauce is a staple. Like, why would you get rid of it?
There was this place out west called Port of Subs. It was like the Jersey Mike's of out west. It was great. It was really good. There's this little deli in Mount Lookout here in Cincinnati called Carl's Deli. I used to go there as a kid. I love it.
Yeah, Carl's good.
It's expensive, but I love it. Quiznos. Hot Belly.
Does Quiznos even exist anymore? Like, what
Yeah,
happened?
but I'd rather have DeBella's over Quiznos.
I've had DeBelle's in so long.
DeBella's is pretty good, but man, sometimes the bread is just like overwhelming with how big it is.
It's a lot of bread.
Yeah. But for real though, like what happened to Quiznos, guys? Like they had like thousands of locations, and then just like you flip your like just all of a sudden like you wake up one day and they're all gone.
I don't know. Probably let someone like you be their accountant.
Probably. But yeah, like now we were in this like shady gas station in Louisiana. You're like near the swamp and stuff. And like keep in mind, Louisiana gas stations in the middle of nowhere have casinos, which is absolutely wild. On the front of it, next to the casino sign, was like a Quiznos label up there. There was no Quiznos inside though. It was probably long gone, but there was a casino in there.
Quiznos and casino.
Yep.
Quizino. Maybe we should buy a franchise of Quiznos and open them back up. What about Potbelly?
I like Potbelly.
Potbelly's solid.
Yeah, Potbelly isn't bad. What about Sbarro?
The finest New York style pizza around.
I mean, not bad for mall pizza, but don't let my wife hear you say that.
I've never actually been to Sbarro, but like the main thing I think of is when Michael Scott is in New York and he's like, "Now I'm gonna have the finest New York pizza." He goes to Sbarro.
You should send that clip to Sam, Matt.
She's seen it. She shakes her head.
It's just
knowing how much they watch The Office in that household, I'm sure she's seen it a bunch of times.
I mean, you gotta stay on your partner's nerves. Like Marissa, she loves. I think it's Fall Out Boy. What's the song? Sugar, We're Going Out Swinging or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's the lyric goes, a loaded God complex, cock it and pull it, and I always say loaded gun complex, cock it and pull it, because it just makes more sense, you know? And so, and she gets mad because the actual lyrics is loaded God, but I refuse to say loaded God. It's loaded gun. Either way. So you got to just keep sending it to her.
I actually, speaking of annoying, I actually thought about doing a non-sports podcast where I just take popular songs from like 60s, 70s, 80s, and I change their name a little bit, but I just meow the whole time.
Have you ever heard of Richard Cheese?
Oh my!
His name is Richard Cheese.
No.
People would
he took songs and turn it into show tunes. So it's kind of like the same idea, but I think you could do it.
Yeah, like name a song.
Cheese.
Name a popular song.
The Macarena.
Okay, not lame. So like we're a big Molly Hatchet flirting with disaster.
See, you were wanting me to. You were prompting me there. You were trying to
So
guide me.
I was trying to guide
yeah.
You can't control.
I actually thought you were going to say it, and I didn't have to go through this whole thing of like.
I can't believe you did not say that, Chad. I mean, come on now.
So instead of flirting with disaster, it would be meowing with disaster, and it'd be like meow 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 meow.
What is going on?
Yeah, girls good.
My dog really does not like it. She's over here like, stop doing that, dude. My cat came in here and was like, hey, it's a party. What's going on?
So like you guys know that I'll have like a TV on or something over here just so my ADHD soothed while I'm doing the show. So this episode, I don't know if you've noticed me being like, what the like that? Because I have Dr. Pimple Popper on over here.
And I love like, Dr. Pimple Popper. It's like disgusting, but it's like
satisfying. But like, so this one is crazy, and I'm just like,
it's like those videos when they show like some podcast talking, and down below it's like some guy like putting bricks on concrete and then smoothing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
laying mortar.
Yeah. So didn't know I was announcing that. Justin, why every time we go over this, why is this still up? Why honestly, do you always forget to editing
easier?
Screen?
This is just makes editing easier because then I just take it down when we're done with the episode, and then it's just like, all right, you can just cut off there, and that's it.
It's really not that hard to find the end of the episode. It just ends.
Oh my god! You guys should turn on Dr. Pimple Popper. This guy's got a giant nose.
I think what I'm gonna do is try to get what did we do last week? East.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so I think I have all those edited. I think I might just post a couple of those to get a few days ahead.
When's college football start?
The week before NFL. So
yeah, August.
The week before our daughters go to school.
Boo.
But we have those episodes coming up.
Yeah.
Sports.
Before the season starts.
Justin and I will try to get our dynasty to everybody. We're still trying to figure out Twitch. For those of you who are still interested in what we're doing, you
know what? Maybe we can run a poll. If people are interested enough, I could just post a summary of each week on the blog. Just an idea. I'm also volunteering myself for more work, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I haven't been playing. Been able to play like 2.5 weeks. It's just sitting there looking at me. I'll get it in the morning before I go to work. I'm like, oh.
Man, I resume our dynasty on Monday.
So does it pick up your previous game information?
No.
We start brand new.
So basically, before my router wanted to restart itself for the third time during this recording session, we're at New Mexico State and we're doing okay at recruiting. Justin lost us a game.
Typical.
I lost the game? What?
Yeah. You wanted to you've never played the game before, and you wanted to start off with Texas A&M with the worst team in the game.
Okay, I understood that as playing Texas A&M was like week 12. I had no idea until like 30 minutes before I came over that we were playing them the first game.
I told you that we were starting against Texas A&M.
I know, but we were like jumping around on the phone and stuff, and I did not catch that was the first game. I thought we were scheduling that as like week 12.
Texas. And then the next game we had to win in double overtime.
Yeah. Yeah, double overtime. Like it was like what, like 50-48. Like it was
Yeah.
silly. And then the
Um,
next game, some running back for Sam Houston ran for like 200 yards in the first quarter on us.
Yeah, he had like 3 carries, 211 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He retired from football.
They stopped passing the ball and they lost.
Or stop running the ball and they lost.
That's what I meant. They started passing the ball and they
Can
lost.
we play online together? Is it crossplay?
It's not cross-platform.
Mine asked me if I wanted to be able to crossplay when I downloaded it. I said,
Oh,
yeah.
mine didn't ask me that.
Shitty ass Xbox. Should have got a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but you can quad box an Xbox, so when you're watching sports, so
Justin, you don't have any of them, so you can shut the fuck up. When are you gonna get a PlayStation, bro, or Xbox?
I'm waiting a little bit.
I'm gonna buy it in September when I get back from my vacation.
Yeah, I'm busy with Updog stuff until then. That's where all my free time's going, so.
Clearly not. I have to
before
post all the videos.
He's busy trying to make a baby, my man.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember those days. They were fun.
Yeah.
They were great.
Any last so we've rambled on at the end of our
this has been a real bad ramble.
It's like a train wreck ending this.
My battery's low, my earbuds batteries are pretty much out at this point. I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
Your battery is low. You can't plug in your computer, sir.
I'm talking about the earbuds are just going out over and over.
Should have brought. No, never mind. We don't get paid to bring up headphones.
No.
Yeah.
No, we don't give them advertisements here.
Yeah, we've said multiple times, free food.
Food is the only thing that we give free shout outs to.
I may make food for a living, but I cannot afford
it.
All right. That is how we end.
That's a great line to end it.
Yeah. Follow us at Updog Sports Talk on all social media. Give us a like, a subscribe. Yeah, we're trying to grow our channel.
If you like these rambling endings, or if we just need to do a cold.
Yeah, if you want me to cut
guys, late night recordings.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, and we all have to work tomorrow. Actually, I'm off tomorrow, so but yeah. We'll see you guys later.
See you, everybody.